And you're listening to News Talk 1340 WJRW. John Gonzalez, the Going Gonzo Show, weekdays at 1 o'clock. If you are listening live for the first time today because you went, hey, wait a minute, I think he's up in Mackinac Island, and I'm listening on the iHeartRadio app, we thank you very much for tuning in today. As I said, broadcasting live from Mackinac Island at Murdoch's Fudge of Mackinac Island. But before we get to Bobby Benzer and all the fudge making going on over there, because Judy just can't keep her eyes off of fudge maker Carnell over there and his brilliant masterpiece of fudge. I'm going to spend a few minutes here getting to know Andrew Doud. I met Andrew a little earlier this year when he was selling me my Powerball ticket. I didn't win that Powerball.
I know. No, nobody here did. What was it? Was it 400 million?
400, 500, 600. I don't even know what it was. I think it was like 600. That record jackpot from earlier this year. But Andrew is interesting because he's a fourth generation, right, Andrew? Fourth generation Dowd's Market, considered America's oldest grocery store. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah, there was a grocery store, I believe in Maine, that closed down last summer that was 224 years old. So, unfortunately, as you've seen the big box stores come in, you've seen the small stores go out, and we're fortunate that we're still here. So we're 129 years old this year.
129 years old. You look great, by the way, for being that old. But can you kind of give me the history of, I mean, since you've been around that long, the history of your market, how it's changed over the years, and, you know, how people have come to rely on what you guys provide for the island?
Well, Doud's was originally on top of the Arnold Line dock, where you see a bike rental now, and it was opened in 1884 by two brothers, Patrick and James Doud. And they operated the shop together for the first 12 years, and then they split apart, and James, my great-grandfather, stayed in the grocery business, and Patrick became a contractor on the island, building a lot of prominent buildings like the Governor's Mansion, Stonecliff, a lot of houses on the east and west bluff. And my great-grandfather eventually passed it on to my grandfather, Francis. And in 1943, the building burnt to the ground. It was started by the stove in the building, and we moved to our current location at the end of Main Street. And we bought the building in 1960 and expanded to the current size that we're at now. And we're hoping to do another expansion, not this upcoming winter, but the winter after. So my father took it over in 1973, and then my brother ran it for a short time, and I've run it for the last 7 years. So.
Now, how do you operate? Because I think we were talking last night. We luckily have dinner with you last night, and I was fascinated by how you get your supplies on the island because, well, you have to take some kind of mode of transportation over here, right? And this morning I saw a couple. I saw a Cisco truck and a Gordon's food truck leaving the island.
Right. It's one of the unique challenges of Mackinac, but it's also part of the charm of Mackinac. We have to ship everything over here by boat, and then we have to put it on a horse-drawn dray, and then it ships to Doud's. And so, of course, that adds to an extra expense that, you know, an independent small market has to kind of absorb. And so when you see prices on Mackinac, we try to keep them at the lowest that we can, but, you know, naturally they are a little more expensive. And then in the winter, it's quite an increase with the plane service, but we have excellent plane service, and we're very thankful to have it. So those are the biggest additional challenges that a grocery store and all businesses on Mackinac have here.
Well, you were also hit upon the next thing I was going to ask you about, because you live here year-round, and you were telling me last night there were 2 weeks this winter because it was so bad that the planes wouldn't even come in. That must be a little tough on a grocery store to keep open.
Yeah, it was actually 14 days total, and it wasn't 2 straight weeks. I don't know what we would have done then. But Mackinac really does have a lot because we're on an island. It's amazing what we do have here. We have a great medical center. We have a great school, and you know it's really a challenge for any business just to break even here in the winter. And you know, so we're very fortunate with what we have here, but we're also very dependent on our off-island cities like St. Agnes and Mackinac City. So we're very fortunate to have the airplane and the boats running in the winter when, I mean, there's no money to be made. But Mackinac's like every other place. It's what you make of it. It really is a beautiful place in the winter. I think you don't really know Mackinac until you've been here in the winter. But it's not tourist-based anymore. So we're lucky to have 2 restaurants, 2 grocery stores. We have a nice convenience store up in the middle of the island and a great school and boat line in the airport. So we're very thankful for what we have in the winter. And it's what you make of it, like every other place.
All right, well, I see the horses out here and the bikes. Well, you can't have them in the winter, so how do people get around?
Well, we use our bikes as long as we can, and then there's that in-between area where it's a little icy and you can't drive your snowmobile, so you put spikes on your boots and you walk around, and for those living out of town, it can be a real challenge, but it is another thing that's kind of part of the charm. How do you then, and before the snow comes in November, it's like that, but then once the snow flies, we use our snowmobiles, and it's such a great relief for us who've used our bikes and we can't get from A to B. So to actually have a motorized vehicle to get you someplace throughout the island really quick is really another charming part of the winter and a unique thing. Carnell's over there finishing up his batch of fudge there, perfecting it. But yeah, the winter life is really unique, and its challenges are part of the charm. So.
Can you actually take the snowmobile over to St. Ignace or to Mackinac City?
If the winter's good, and the last 2 winters have not been, we do snowmobile across the ice to St. Ignace. And we used to, my wife won't let me anymore, but we used to go over at 6 in the morning and actually get the groceries and bring them over. And there's quite a group that would do that. There'd be 4 or 5 of us, but I guess I'm not allowed to do that anymore, is what I'm told. So we fly it over, and the airport they really do a great service for us. But, those 4, it's normally not 14 different days where you can't get supplies over here. So it was challenging this past winter, but we've dealt with it all, I think, at this point, so we know how to handle it.
I think you were telling me, too, last night that for several years you went to school here. What was it like, being a young teenager, and going to school here on the island during the winter and all year round?
It really was a lot of fun. It's got its strengths in that you really get the camaraderie is really good with all the other classmates, and you hang out with kids 3 years above and 3 years younger because you have to, or you can't play the hockey game or the basketball game. But we would go on just great trips. We'd every weekend we'd go play Grand Marais or Beaver Island or Paradise in basketball and volleyball, and so the whole island would fly off together, ride in a bus together. So it really was a unique, great experience. I'm very thankful for that time.
What about the marching band and the cheerleaders and all that?
We're working on it. The sports has expanded. When I was here, it was boys basketball, girls basketball, and girls volleyball. And now they've really expanded into soccer, track, golf, and things like that. So it keeps getting better, which is great and good for the kids.
Yeah, definitely good for the kids. But what a difference of just a classmate. You probably had 2 people in your graduating class?
I actually left before my senior year, but I would have been the 4th. But, I'm still friends with all of them today, and we have a class reunion occasionally once a month in the bar, and, you never know. But it really was a great experience, and so I really am very thankful that I did it. So.
And is there anything else you want to add about Doud's Market and what you guys do here for this community?
No, we try to do everything we can. Every year we try to get better, but we're very lucky and very thankful that the people have been patient with us. So it's an honor to be a part of Mackinac. So.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here because, Carnell is finishing up that fudge over there, and Judy's mouth is watering. Okay, mine is too. Looks fantastic over there. We'll be right back here to tell you more about the fudge here at Murdoch's and Mackinac Island on the Going Gonzo Show on News Talk 1340 WJRW.